Okay, so it is week 3. Today is September 21st. Today we're going to be doing, so first off, you're going to read page 29 to 31 once I'm done with the announcements. Your homework is going to be worksheet 1.2.2a. That's the animal cell one, and then 1.2.2b plant cell. So both of those are attached in here, but they are also in your guys' workbook. So your workbook is the flimsy one that you can tear stuff out of. Things you need to turn in is everything that we did at home last week. So whatever you did last week, turn it in. And if you don't turn it in by today, by the end of the day today, it's going to be late. You guys have had a week for all of it, so it'll be late at this point. Most of you have turned everything in though. So yeah, Ian. Need a pencil? All right, let me grab you one real quick. Okay, lesson 1.2.3, DNA. Okay, got a question for you guys. Where is DNA located? Yeah. Yeah. Yep, in cells, yep. It's, technically it is in your saliva, but yeah, it's more the saliva, it's more the cells that you're getting rid of and the ones that die off. Because we're gonna get into it. Yeah, Ears. Mm-hmm. Yep. So the main answer, it's in the nucleus of the cell. It's in the nucleus of the cell. So whenever you hear where is DNA located, because that's going to be on a quiz, it is located in the nucleus of the cell. Where are cells? Cells are literally everywhere in your body because cells make up who you are. And DNA, it makes up who you are. The way you look, your fingerprints, everything about you is because of DNA. Does anyone know what DNA stands for? Raise your hand if you know. What does it stand for? I know, it's hard to pronounce. I even stumble over it. Yeah, Aries, are you looking at it? Okay, what is it? Very close. Deoxy, what'd you say for the second one? Nucleic. You were very close. Deoxyribonucleic acid. It's a tongue twister. Try and say that one 3 times fast even. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so a small amount of DNA can be found in the mitochondria. It is called mitochondrial DNA or mtDNA. We won't get into that too much. That's going to be higher science. The main thing I want you to know is the nucleus of the cell. I just wanted to add this part because there is some DNA in other structures of the cell. Yeah, you can write that because that might be an extra credit problem. I don't expect you guys to know that, but it could be an extra credit problem on a quiz or a test. I like to add things that you're going to be studying in high school biology and biochemistry. Okay. You guys just about got that? Almost? Okay. I'll wait another minute. All right. Okay. So here is kind of a little picture of how it's going to look. So we all know what the nucleus is, right? So right here, that's your nucleus. Little picture there. Inside, you have a chromosome. You have a bunch of chromosomes that are within the nucleus. So and then within your chromosome is a bunch of twisted DNA, and that's what we're going to be getting into is the DNA. We're going to get into that. Yep. And so a little bit more about DNA. So DNA is found in the cells of all living things. So everything that is living, it has DNA. Even things that are, so a plant, yes, a plant is the exact same way. It has DNA. A little bit different from how a human or an animal's DNA works, but it is, everything has DNA, yeah. We're not going to get into coral because coral is a little bit different. Yeah, it's a little different. It still does have DNA, but in a different way. You know, I actually don't know how they do that. It's a good question. Yep. So every organism has unique DNA. So what does that mean? Fingerprints. We all have different fingerprints, right? So that's why when you get into, like on your cell phone, some of us have a fingerprint scanner on there, right? Your face, but the face doesn't work as well because, like, if you have someone who looks like you, like Aries and Oasis, they kind of look similar, it will unlock.
For some reason,
But with a fingerprint, your fingerprint is just your fingerprint. No matter, yeah, Abby. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Last year I had a phone and I had a face scanner.
Yeah.
This year my face is a lot different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why you always want to have a backup password too, especially since you guys are younger and always changing. Okay, so DNA, just like if you're wondering how it's spelt, right here, deoxyribonucleic acid. So the D stands for D, the N in nucleic stands for the N, and then A stands for acid. And that, just going to tell you now, this would be an easy multiple choice question that I would put on a quiz and a test, or both. So this would be a great one for you to make sure you know. And then, so each nucleotide contains the letters G, T, A, and C. You guys probably saw that on the bottom of your textbook on page 29. There are these little segments that connect together. They're called adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So it's the first letter of each of those. You have G, T, A, and C. And we're going to be going and we're going to be diving deeper into those here in just a sec. Aries, did you have your hand up? Oh, that was you. What was your? Oh, I see. That's funny. Okay. And then nearly every cell contains the same genetic code. So every cell within your body, it's going to contain the same genetic code. And that's because with asexual reproduction of your cells, when they split into two, they're going to have the exact same genetic code going on inside. And then so on and so forth. When they keep breaking apart, they're going to have the same genetic code. Your cell, let's say my genetic code of my cells is going to be different from Bethy's. Even Bethy and her mom are going to have different codes for our cells because Bethy's parent, Bethy has a little bit from both her mom and her dad. Same with all of you. Mine, from my mom, I have some of hers, I have some of my dad's. Yeah. Because you're related.
Oasis.
In simplest terms. I'm not going to go into all that because that's we're only scratching the surface of how this works. Yeah.
Why did you say nearly?
Nearly every cell, because there are some exceptions, and we're not going to go into that because that is we are in middle school science right here, so I don't want to confuse everyone.
I like being confused.
But if you would like to know, I will talk to you about it after class. Okay.
I just want to know.
So moving on from DNA background, now we have the structure of DNA. The structure of DNA. Structure of DNA. So DNA, write down the definition that's in your book. Evan, can you read that definition for me? That's on page 29 for DNA.
DNA, molecule within a cell that carries a genetic information.
Yes. So it is the molecule within a cell. As we went over, that is within a chromosome, to be more specific, and it carries your genetic information. So DNA is very important because it makes us who we are. So what are the components of DNA if we were to break that down? The components of DNA, we have sugar, a phosphate molecule, And then we have nucleotides. And the nucleotides, that's these guys right here. Each of those segments, which we're really going to be talking about a lot. We have A, T, C, and G. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. No, you do not have to draw that. Nope. There's a picture of it in your book. And just to say now, what do you guys notice about that picture in your book? What do you notice about the colors? Which ones are always matched up together? Madeline? Yeah, yep, so adenine and thymine, so A and T, they are always matched together. And then guanine and cytosine, they are always matched together in every situation. No, this is more for just basic understanding and to show, just to make it pop. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, don't ask me colors. I'm colorblind. Yeah, oh yeah. I actually watched a video of that last night, yeah. So as you can see over there, A and T, so on my board over there, I wrote A and T are always together, and then C and G always together. So that's another way you could write how those are matched together. It is, yeah. Nucleotides. Because you're separating the sugar and the phosphate from it. What makes a sugar, or what makes a strawberry, when you're separating all of those things apart from each other and you're only eating the DNA, you're losing a lot of other components of the strawberry. Same thing that goes for anything. Yep, that's a good question. Okay. You guys just got have this part written down? Yep. Yeah, I stalled long enough? Sweet. Okay, so going into nucleotides a little bit. So the 4 different types. Number 1, adenine. Number 2, thymine. Number 3, cytosine. And number 4, guanine. So this is very important. This is another thing that could be like a multiple choice problem on a quiz. I would want you to identify, what does A stand for? Does it stand for adenine, animal? I don't know. I would be a little bit more elaborate than that. They do, yep. That's because they're all nucleotides, that's why. That's a good thing to notice. Good observation. Yes, Aries? Cyto? It is a root. I'm not positive what it means. I'm not positive what all the roots mean. I should have looked that up. She might. Right? Cytoman. That's awesome. Okay, so those are the 4 different types of nucleotides and what their letter stands for. Oh. So which ones are always matched together? Ian, which ones are always matched together? Bingo. A and T and C and G. And as you can see in this picture, the A and the T, they fit together. The C and the G, they fit together. It doesn't look like that in real life, but that is kind of what you can picture in your head. Their structure only fits together. Yeah, William. Nice. Nice. Perfect. Whatever works for you. Okay, a little bit more of the structure of DNA. Structure of DNA. So the order of these bases is what determines DNA's instructions or genetic code. So what that means is you could have a structure that looks something like this. So you have A, T, T, A, T, A. I haven't even done C yet. So C, G, C, G. And I throw in another T and A. I'm just throwing in random stuff here. G, GC. So this genetic code, it's going to be random for every one of you. Every one of you is going to have a random code. None of these have to be put in order as long as A and T is together, and then C and G are put together. That's all that matters, and that's a little bit of what we're going to do in our lab tomorrow. So, genetic code. So we have a gene. What is the definition of a gene, Logan? It's in your book on page 29. Yes, so a small segment of DNA that carries hereditary information. Who can tell me what hereditary means? It can be a very basic version of what hereditary means. Yeah, Ellen. The parents, yeah, yep. So for asexual reproduction, it would be from the single parent that would come down. So everything from that, from your one parent in asexual reproduction would be exactly the same. With sexual reproduction, when you have two different parents, you are going to get genetic information from each parent coming down to you. That's how everyone has a unique code and a unique differences about each other. Yeah. To get each connection?
Yeah. Out of the ones.
Like take it apart? Oh, how it looks? You know, I'm not sure how long it would take. That's a good question. And then my last point here for the structure of DNA. So DNA is shaped like a twisted ladder, and this is called the double helix. That could be a fill in the blank problem. So DNA is shaped like a blank, twisted ladder. This is also called a what? Double helix. Could be, yeah. So DNA is shaped like a twisted ladder. Yeah. Like a ray gun, yeah. I see what you're going for. Okay. You guys getting this written down? Evan, you with me? Yeah? Get it written down already? Okay, remember we're writing down everything.
I wrote all of them.
Then you should sleep more if you're tired. Good. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one. So DNA replication, our next objective. DNA replication. So DNA has an important role in cell division. This is kind of how each DNA strand is going to be created. So before division, DNA must make an exact copy. So replication. Jaden, can you read replication, the definition for me in your book? Page 29. Yes, yep. So replication, the process in which new molecules makes exact duplicates. So replication, you are replicating or taking an exact copy of whatever you are copying. So DNA separates into two strands of nucleotides, and this process is called unzipping. And the reason it's called unzipping is when they are separating from each other, it's like an unzipping of the DNA. They are broken right down the middle. So here in my process right here, what's happening is these are coming apart. So your A is now over here, your T is now over here, and everything just keeps branching down, and eventually they're going to attach to another strand of nucleotides. Yeah. Yep, and that's why it's called unzipping, is because it unzips and then it zips up with another strand of nucleotide. Yeah. It's being built at all times, even right now. It's unzipping and zipping with other pieces of DNA. Yeah. No, because that's just your cells. Your cells literally make up everything. So your cells, whatever physical part you have of you, liquid part, whatever, there's DNA there. And cells, because cells or DNA is within every cell. Yeah, Madeline?
of this.
I don't know the rate in which it happens, but it is happening in every cell in your body, which you can't count the number of cells, and then the amount of DNA. So it is bound up into a tiny little ball. It's not just one strip. It is bound up so small into a tiny little ball. And what was the length? So there it is. Anywhere from 75 to hundreds of thousands of nucleotides long. So that's a lot of nucleotides. And each nucleotide is one of those A to T or C to G strands. So there is a lot happening within a tiny nucleus in each cell. Okay. That's a little bit about DNA replication. Okay, so I have a little video to show you how it works. So this is the last slide. You guys are done taking notes, and then you guys can get started on your worksheets in your workbook. So worksheet 1.2.2a, the animal cell, and then also 1.2.2b, plant cell. And it says over there on the board what your homework is for every class. All right, get this paused here.